Republicans, particularly those who have closely aligned themselves with Trump and his administration, seem to understand on some level that the train that they are on is about to crash. And sometimes that's the way it goes. Sometimes the train's conductor is the one driving it into the side of a mountain, which seems to be the case right now. With the looming September 30th deadline for Congress to pass its spending bill, it's being reported that Trump is planning a federal workers' firing spree should the government shut down in October. In a memo from the Office of Management and Budget obtained by Politico, the OMB says instead of just furloughing government workers during the shutdown, which is what usually happens, they might just get rid of people altogether. The memo says programs that did not benefit from an infusion of mandatory appropriations will bear the brunt of a shutdown, and we must continue our planning efforts in the event Democrats decide to shut down the government. This sweep, it stated, will more directly affect programs and projects that, quote, are not consistent with the president's priorities. Programs that won't be affected by the potential shutdown include Social Security, Medicare, veterans benefits, military operations, law enforcement, ICE, of course, Customs and Border Protection, and also air traffic control. But some are making the choice to quit before Trump has a chance to get rid of them, and among those is Taylor Budovich. This is Trump's deputy chief of staff who is in charge of Trump's messaging, speeches, and cabinet affairs. He will be leaving his position by the end of this month, going back to the private sector. And several other high-profile figures in the cabinet will be sad to see him go, including Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Vice President J.D. Vance, and also Stephen Miller, who, according to his wife, is a sexual matador. That's not relevant to this story at all, but I figured that if I have to know that, you should too. I'm not sorry. Budovich is certainly not the first one to walk from this administration. I do want to clarify that there are plenty of reasons for people to leave a job, even a job that they like. So I don't want to over-speculate that these ex-staffers have suddenly either grown a conscience or have become increasingly fearful of some kind of karmic retribution eventually finding them. However, the thought that those on the inside see and understand the impending wreckage better than those of us on the outside looking in is slightly encouraging, dare I say comforting. For instance, Alex Pfeiffer, another one of Trump's top communication staffers, left earlier this month after roughly 9 months in his role. The DOJ Chief of Staff, Chad Mizell, he has decided to return to Florida. Mizell was a close ally to Stephen Miller and Attorney General Pam Bondi, and he was in his role for about 10 months. And Mike Waltz left his position as National Security Advisor following Signalgate. He now serves not just as the fall guy for Signalgate, but also as a U.S. ambassador to the UN. Speaking of the UN, Trump is busy. He can't seem to be bothered with most of the things bothering the American people these days because he's busy looking out for himself. He is now looking into escalator gate. And yes, I'm sorry about all the gates, by the way. I think it's lame too, but that's just what they're calling it. If you don't know what I'm referring to, during Trump's recent trip to the UN, he gave a weird speech that's being mocked around the world right now, but he and his wife tried to get on an escalator only to find that the escalator stopped working, leaving the president and first lady stranded, stuck, just utterly unable to escalate. But don't worry, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is personally on the case.
It does appear to be sabotage with the escalator and the teleprompter. What is the White House going to do about that?
Well, Jesse, that's definitely what it appears to be to me. And that's why I put out a statement earlier. There was some concerning reporting over the weekend from the London Times, as you pointed out, that UN globalist staffers were basically plotting to set up the president of the United States. And first it was the escalator, then it was the teleprompter, and then Katie Pavlich from Town Hall, who we offered a seat in the press pool to cover the president's historic speech today, noticed that the audio inside of the room was much lower and different for the president of the United States than the previous speaker. So when you put all of this together, it doesn't look like a coincidence to me. And I know that we have people, including the United States Secret Service, who are looking into this to try to get to the bottom of it. And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to literally trip up the president and the first lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people. And I will personally see to it, Jesse.
Good.
All of this only contributes to the complete, undeniable unseriousness of this administration. I honestly don't understand how anyone could look at this president with any kind of respect or admiration, because he is so obviously narcissistic, which is the absolute worst trait you can have as a leader. I can't imagine someone like Obama having to walk up a broken escalator and making any kind of comment about it, let alone calling for an investigation into it. This man is a child. He is nearly 80 years old and he is still so childish, which is sad for him, but it's absolutely embarrassing for anyone who is still supporting him. I'm not even talking about people like Jesse Waters and Caroline Leavitt. They both make way more money than I do. I'm not saying that it's good what they're doing, but at least they're getting paid for it. The everyday Trump supporter who rage tweets in Trump's honor while getting literally nothing in return for their loyalty after 10 years of this, that is embarrassing. What a waste of everyone's time this administration is. There does seem to be some light at the end of this very dark, deep tunnel that we've all been in, and it looks like people on social media finally realizing that Trump was maybe not handpicked by Jesus or God or whoever to save humanity. I think that their overall logic is still heavily flawed and very fickle. In many cases, the God that supposedly told them to support Trump in the first place is the very same God who has now told them not to. And it will be very difficult to forgive these people for the damage they've inflicted on this country and for the hate that they directed towards various groups of individuals. That said, I will never discourage a step in the right direction, which in this case, it isn't even about right or left. If you don't agree with me on the best economic structure for the country, then fine. That is a debate that we as a country can and should have. But this is about decency. This is about stepping out of fear. It's about distancing oneself from idolatry. It's about understanding that you were lied to and that not everyone is out to get you, because grow up, it's not about you. People are trying to live, and it would be a lot easier to do if we all just weren't constantly fighting each other over dumb things like escalators. One last thing though, because I can't help myself, and maybe you're better than I am, but it is fun for me that now the anti-woke crowd is having a mass awakening. Let's see if it sticks though. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks. Hey, it's Yasmin Khan. Thank you so much for watching. If you're into what we're doing here, please hit that like button. It really helps. And if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe to Rebel HQ and hit that bell so that you never miss an upload. I've also got a playlist with all of my videos, so feel free to dive in and catch up there. And if you're over like the corporate spin and just want real people-powered news, hit that join button and be part of the movement. We couldn't do it without your support. Seriously, thank you so much. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I will see you in the next one.